Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ms. TV Total Football. Well, it's official. It's official. Spurs, Tottenham Hotspurs, ladies and gentlemen, have sacked Ange Postecoglou. I didn't think they would do this. I'm not even going to say I didn't think they had the balls to do this because I don't think this is the right decision. But nonetheless, they've done this ruthlessly. Man wins them Europa League. Man wins them a trophy after 17 years, an important trophy as well. And he gets the sacking. Now, before I delve into why I think this is crazy, and now look, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to hide the fact. First of all, I hate Tottenham Hotspurs. Absolutely hate them. Everyone knows that. And it's a very common thing to do if you follow Chelsea Football Club and you followed it for a very long time. You're not going to appreciate Spurs or all the rivalry, the banter and whatnot. That's always there. But Spurs as well, I don't like that football club, right? However, Ange Postecoglou, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for him because Australian compatriot, me living and growing up in Australia, knowing all about Ange Postecoglou and what he's done for the Australian, football as a sport, and what he has done and achieved elsewhere as well. It means a lot. It means a lot. Now, putting that aside for a second, he's had a tumultuous season. I'm not taking one bit away from the whole scenario, from the whole situation. He's had a disgusting season in the Premier League, and that on its own at times warrants for a sacking, of course. But you also have to put some context around the fact that Spurs don't recruit well enough. Look at the level of recruitment they've done for Ange Postecoglou. Yeah, there's some good players, but overall the recruitment wasn't great. That's number one, and that's not the biggest factor. The biggest factor is the crazy injuries that they endured all throughout last season that just finished. There were times where I didn't even recognize who the goalkeeper was, the back four, the mid. Like, he's had to persevere through and endure almost the entirety of the season with plethora of injuries. It was a very, very peculiar season. It was a very strange season for Spurs to have that many top quality players not available on a regular. Even then, Ange Postecoglou came out publicly and said that on my second season, I usually win things. And then he corrected and said, not usually, I always win things. And he's gone on and he's kept to his words and won the Europa League. Huge, 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 achievement for Spurs, who, let's be honest, they don't achieve anything. They don't achieve anything. So, ladies and gentlemen, the latest official, Spurs confirm Ange Postecoglou has been sacked. This literally delivered about 5-6 hours ago. And of course, there's a whole heap of, stuff that's been said in the social media, journalists coming out left, right, and center saying a lot of things. But the one that I want to highlight, right? And we're going to delve into why I think this is not the right thing to do. But I want to, before I get into that, Matt Law has just delivered this particular article just literally moments ago. And I feel like this needs to be highlighted. It really does. Because I am of a belief that a lot of the Spurs players truly liked him. Truly, truly liked him. And that goes a long way. And the fact that he's won a trophy with them, and the fact the way Ange Postecoglou ended the conversation in the trophy parade where he said, season 3 is always better than season 2. I'm pretty sure a lot of the players believed that. And they would have been determined to come back next season to prove to prove Ange Postecoglou right and work hard for him next season, because it was a abysmal season that just finished. So check this out. Tottenham face player revolt threat over Ange Postecoglou's sacking. I mean, do you know what? Before we get into that, I don't understand what the Spurs chairman, Daniel Levy, like, what are you thinking? I get that Ange Postecoglou's had a bit of a fallout with the fan base, but there were also large parts who were willing to give him an opportunity to go again. What were you thinking? would it have been that bad to give Ange Postecoglou an opportunity to go again for at least the first part of the season next season to see how things are? Give him the right recruitment. He's already shown you in the first season that he can finish fifth. He can finish in the top six. Shown you in the second season that he can win a trophy that you've never won. You know, you haven't won a trophy in 17 years. You might have won a Europa League ages ago. Fair enough. Back when it was called something else. But he's shown that he can do both sides. And I feel like he's warranted to stick around for a little bit longer to see where he can take this group. I mean, sacking him, what's the message you're trying to send? Like, who are you going to bring? I know we're going to go through the names that they're linked with. Who do you think you're going to bring, and what do you want to achieve? You want to win more trophies? Ange Postecoglou has shown that he can win trophies. You really think previously you've sacked the likes of Jose Mourinho, you've sacked the likes of Antonio Conte, you've sacked many managers who are incapable of winning any trophies with your club. Now you think you're going to bring, let's say, a Thomas Frank or Bournemouth's manager, Iraola, or Fulham's manager, Marcus. So you're thinking you're going to win a trophy. Or you want stability in the top four, top 5, 6, whatever, Champions League football. Ange Postecoglou has finished in the first season in top. So I don't understand. I really don't understand why they've gone this route. And now they found themselves in a massive trouble because a lot of their players are very irate about it. So Tottenham faced player revolt threat over Ange Postecoglou's sacking. Exclusive Spurs players understood to be furious as Australian coach is brutally dismissed just 16 days after winning the Europa League. Daniel Levy is facing the threat of a Tottenham Hotspur player revolt, having brutally sacked head coach Ange Postecoglou 2 weeks after winning the Europa League. Telegraph Sports exclusively broke the news of Postecoglou's exit on the 2-year anniversary of his appointment. Wow. Before it was later confirmed by Spurs in a statement. It is understood that Chief Football Officer Scott Munn, who was one of the Postecoglou's biggest supporters inside Spurs, has also been sacked by Levy, the club chairman. Wow. So they're just going around and doing a whole cleanup. Now they find themselves in Champions League. They just want to make sure they have a clean slate and start again and not go through being 17th again. I hear that. But I think this was a bit premature. They could have just seen how the season had started, and it could have been a special season with Ange Postecoglou. And now I feel like more tumultuous times coming towards Spurs. Postecoglou's departure has angered a number of Tottenham players, with sources claiming some want to leave the club and that the Australian successor will face a huge task to repair the dressing room damage. Whoever the next manager, good luck to them. Postecoglou was left in the dark over his future for almost 2 weeks after the final Premier League game of the season, before being told had been sacked on Friday. A source said, the players are so angry about what has happened and how it has been handled. The next manager is going to inherit a difficult situation. 100%. Thomas Frank is rated as one of the leading candidates to replace Postecoglou. See, this is the thing. I appreciate Thomas Frank a lot. The job that he's done at Brentford, I appreciate. But what are you expecting with Thomas Frank if you're bringing him to Spurs? What are you expecting? Trophies. You're expecting trophies, not one trophies. You're letting go of a manager that's won trophy. What are you expecting with Thomas Frank to bring you stability? It's just, I find it strange. And you know what? I can't wait for the meltdown of Spurs fans next season. Marco Silva and Andoni Iraola have also been considered, while supporters would back an emotional return of Maurizio Pochettino. Wow. They'd even back a Maurizio. It's a funny football club, man, who is currently the head coach of United States national team. It's understood that no approach had been made for Pochettino on Friday. Pochettino's done. Pochettino era, Pochettino, the way he, operates, that philosophy, that style is finished. He's flopping big time in United States as well with the national team. They've never been this bad under any other manager the way they've been bad under Pochettino. And we saw what Pochettino did with us at Chelsea Football Club as well, right? I feel like Pochettino is done. It is anticipated that former managing director of football Fabio Paratici, who could return to Spurs in a full-time capacity and has remained a consultant to Leva, will have a significant say in choosing Postecoglou's successor. Whether that is Frank or somebody else, it appears Spurs will now be faced with significant dressing room unrest this summer and heading into the next season. Pedro Porro this week said that that speculation Postecoglou could be sacked had impacted him and insisted that the squad were happy with him. James Maddison liked a video on social media of an interview in which the 59-year-old said the club could now build on their Europa League success. As you can see over here, Pedro Porro, lovely little message here for Postecoglou. Son as well, Son Min-hyun has also said, like how much he admires Postecoglou, Son Heung-min, sorry. And, we've seen the likes of James Maddison. Now, a lot of people have been saying, well, these are the same players that put him in this position. They're the ones. A lot of these players have been injured, man. They didn't purposely put Spurs in that position. Don't get me wrong. Postecoglou definitely has flaws in his philosophy, in the way he plays. He's too aggressive. Like his attack, he's way too aggressive in attack, which leaves a lot of space in back. But he can execute that if he has all his players available. So it's not a surprise that the players are upset. The players have shared an emotional journey together with the manager. They've won something together. They've persevered, brought the club a special night with a trophy, which they haven't, experienced for such a long time. I can understand some of the players being upset. And now this new manager is going to come in and he's going to have this bunch of players that, look, time moves on and they'll move on and they'll get over it. They'll give the new manager a good opportunity, good chance as well, of course. But this unrest ain't going to go away anytime soon. It'll take time. And it was unnecessary, in my opinion. It really was. Because Spurs, you're not going to win the Premier League next season. And you're probably not going to win anything substantial either. So the best you can do is compete for a Champions League spot or just be mid-table. And I don't know why you need to sack Ange Postecoglou to do that, because he would have given you that. If anything, he's now shown that he can do better. And now you're going to bring in Thomas Frank, who's a mid-table manager. Low to mid-table manager. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. I just found the whole situation very strange, how Spurs have let go of. Look, I understand. I don't agree with it. I understand the results of last season were poor, but Spurs, let's see what you're capable of next season. Let's see. It might not work out that well next season for you now. It really might not work out that well. You're in the Champions League as well. New manager. Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.